Alrighty guys, I'm just making a quick video here to show you how to make a stand on Tinkercad for your Mosaic tile. This is going to be the last portion of the Mosaic tile project before we do the little final write-up portion. So once you log into Tinkercad, the first thing I want you guys to do, up here, it's going to say some weird name. I want you to put your name, the block that you're in, and the day that you have class. So I said Connor, block 3, day 1. All right, once that, the next little bit of business we need to make sure we have taken care of is down here in the settings. I want you to open that up and make sure that your units say inches. If it doesn't, it says millimeters, change it to inches and click make default. You also should change your presets to Dremel 3D40, 3D45. It most likely will say Tinkercad. Just click on this here and then say make default. Then you're just going to click off this little menu right over here, and we should be good to go. Actually, there's one more thing I want you guys to change. When it comes to the snap grid down here, yours is going to be defaulted to 1/8 of an inch. I want you to put it at 1/32 of an inch. Okay. All right, now we're ready to start making our mosaic tile holder. I chose to use a wedge, and you guys can choose to either follow the one that I'm making or make your own. Either way works, but this is the way I made it. So I'm going to grab the wedge, I'm going to bring it out onto my work plane and set it down. First thing I need to do is I want to flip this around, turn it around so I can see the front side, because if you can see here, it's backwards. Click home again to go back. So on these blocks that we bring out, they always have 3 arrows that we can click on. So this one here will rotate it this way. We do not want that. If I move over here a little bit, it's kind of hard to see, but this one here will rotate it this way. And that would work. Actually, I could just do it that way. So you could do it that way, or you can do it right down here and click on this arrow and type in 180 degrees. And now my wedge has been turned around. Once we have it turned around, we're good to go. I'm just going to move it a little bit closer to me here. And now we need to adjust the length, the width, and the height. So the height I'm going to put to 4.5 inches. Okay. Remember, our tiles are 5.875 inches by 5.875 inches. So 4.5 inches should be plenty. And then I'm going to change my width here to 3. I'm going to click the tab key so I go right to my length. I'm also going to click turn that to 3 and click enter. So now I have my my wedge to the size that I would like. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to kind of remove this part here so it's on an angle back to a point to the back of my holder, and do the same thing on the other side, and then remove the inside part here and make a little lip for our mosaic tile to stand in. So this is just going to be me kind of using some hole blocks to do that. Okay? So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out one of these cubes that's a hole, and I'm going to put it right up next to my wedge, and I'm using the arrow key to move it in this time. As you can see, it's right to the tip top corner there. To make sure, I'm going to highlight both and click align, and click this button right here. Okay, so as you can see, when I have a line, I could center all of it. I could make sure they're all centered here, but I just want them to be up to the front of each other. All right. Now I'm going to click off, click back to my box, and this time I'm going to make this guy 5 inches in length, and then let's make him also 5 inches tall. Okay. And then what I want to do is I'm going to make it, let's just start with 3 inches wide. So again, it's 5 inches in length, 5 inches tall, 3 inches wide. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to angle this box into this wedge. So the arrows I'm going to be using are over here. Again, it's kind of hard to see, but these guys here. And I'm just going to go 22.5 degrees. And it's going to angle it like this. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this box with my mouse to the front corner. So right there. And that's pretty close on. If you want to be perfect, you can change your snap grid to 1/64 of an inch and you can use the arrow keys to try to get it right on there like that. Now what we want to make sure is that it goes all the way through the back of our wedge, which as you guys can kind of see here, sorry about the camera angle, it does go all the way through. Okay, I'm going to click on the home button just to go back to our good view. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my rectangular prism that is a hole, and I'm going to copy and paste that. Control C, Control V. And what I would like to do is this time I'm going to move it back to the opposite 22.5 degrees. So like this. Alright, so now I'm going to move it over here. Again, I'm going to try to get it right on that corner. I'm going to zoom in so I can watch it as I push the arrow keys. That looks about even on both sides. Go back to my home, zoom out a little bit. Now what I want you guys to do is we need to group this together. So I'm going to highlight all objects and click the group button right here. And it's going to take us and turn our wedge into a wedge that looks like this. Okay. So that's our first part of making this stand. The next step would be to select this wedge, and I'm going to Control C and Control V, so copy and paste it. And then I'm going to turn it into a hole. And what I want to do is I want to just make it a little bit longer. So I'm going to make it 3.5 inches in length. Okay. So now I have a little bit longer hole, and it's sitting next to my wedge. So again, I am going to select both objects, and I'm going to align them right here using this button. And I want them to be exactly centered on each other. So now my wedge is going all the way through my hole is going all the way through my wedge, sorry. So what I'm going to do is I want to move this guy by using my arrow keys. I'm going to push it, the left arrow key. I want to move it like this so that my hole is actually sticking out of my wedge. Okay, so the thing that I want to make sure is when I'm looking at my legs, which are going to be this part right here, that I can see at least 2 of these blocks right here. So each of these blocks is 1/8 of an inch. And we would like to make sure that we have 2 of them, so that makes it 1/4 of an inch in length. And that is pretty close. So once you have it where it looks like you're right on and close enough, what you're going to do, just like we did before, is you're going to highlight both and you're going to group them together again. And now we're going to get a shape that looks like this. Okay? So our next step on how I would make the stand is I'm going to take another cube that is a hole, pull it out onto the work plane, and I'm going to move it so you can see the cone. I'm going to take this cone, and the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to raise this up so that it is 1/4 of an inch off the ground. Actually, I'm going to go 0.3 inches off the ground. So right there. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it in to here so that it is right on the front of my angled piece here. And as you can see, it's going to leave like a little hook here. That's what I want. I want to have that little hook. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use my mouse, and I'm going to make this whole cube a little bit larger, and then I'm going to make it deeper in. Okay, I don't want to go too deep where the back is not going to be sturdy enough. So once I get it, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good. It's going to take off all that. Now I need to adjust my height. So I'm going to take this, go all the way up, and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, well, I need to move back a little bit more because I'm not all the way to here. So I'm going to make this a little bit longer. So right about there. And we're going to group it together. Let's see how it looks. So again, I'm going to highlight everything, click group, and there would be my stand. So I can put my mosaic tile right here, and it will be hooked in by these little legs, and it will hopefully stand up. Okay, so you guys try making this design. When you're done, bring it back and show me, and we will try to print one out for you guys.